don't see how we can make bigger enemies.
To be offended or frightened of everything.
So you've become like the sort of Tony Scarface of podcasting.
Happy Wednesday. Welcome to the morning show. So happy to be here. So happy to see all of you out there.
Why did you say that like you were being held hostage? So happy to be here.
So something went wrong, it says here. Tap to retry. Is it my feed or is it...
No, it's working. We're live.
Right. Let us know if there's any issues because we had some technical difficulties.
Yeah, YouTube wouldn't let me click on go live.
Poseidon over there, back producing this week. He was out conquering Hollywood last week.
Did you get the part?
Well, I was an extra.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's not Hollywood. It's.
Who's that?
I'm just being stupid.
Poseidon over there, guys. The Poseidon69. I'm Poseidon.com. Follow him. Ted Bird, ladies and gentlemen, sitting before me, getting ready for a brand new episode of Standing By the Terry and Ted podcast. If you haven't done so yet, you can check out older episodes. The Terry and Ted podcast.
There's 72 of them.
72.
So
getting
you
ready
can
for
stay awake for 3 straight days and watch them all in a row.
Oh my God. How's it going, guys?
I'm happy.
You're happy?
I'm happy.
Because I'm happy.
What's this coin that's on the
That's
table?
a euro.
It's too small to be a penny.
It's a
Yeah, it's a penny.
It's a European penny,
Yeah.
so it's 1/100th
small
of a
it is.
euro.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that from your Italy trip?
No, somebody put it there. I think I know who it is, and I left it there for good luck.
It's
Oh,
like
okay.
a giant lentil. Guys, if you haven't done so already, head on over to YouTube page, this here YouTube page, the Pantelis Comedy YouTube page. Subscribe, and then once you've done that, head on over to patreon.com/Pantelis. Find yourself a plan that fits your needs.
I need a plan.
You need a plan?
Or that fits your.
You know what Mike Tyson said?
Yeah.
He said everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth.
That's one of the best quotes I've ever read.
That's why I don't make any plans. That's why I don't make any plans.
So true.
Yeah. You think you're ready.
I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that and I'm going to wham! Uh-oh.
Shit. Now what?
Yeah.
So yeah, guys, patreon.com/Pantelis. Find yourself a plan. Get yourself the access you don't know that you need for exclusive content. Great stuff coming out of there. And I'm sure that you'll appreciate it. What did we say?
Imagine you plan stuff and then you die. You look like the biggest loser.
It's not that uncommon. You know how many people that I know that
I know I'm joking, by the way.
that have retired and then months later get a heart attack or they die. These are people that have worked their entire lives. They've been planning for this retirement, hardworking individuals, and a couple months, maybe a year or two later, boom, done.
Yeah, it happened to my grandfather.
Yeah,
He worked hard, made a lot of money, and died at 69. I didn't save properly for retirement, went through 2 expensive divorces. I'm going to live to be 105 because it's going to be God's way of punishing me.
Yeah.
I'm going to be in here at 105. 95-year-old Poseidon's going to be over there.
Yeah. Dressed in the same clothes. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's I think the fact that you're working and you're staying active has a lot to do with it, I think. I don't know.
Yes.
But to deteriorate
it has
that quickly,
everything.
that to me is a big mystery.
So here's the
because
thing.
they're very healthy, they're working, they wake up, they're
I think maybe some people lose purpose or they lose a sense of purpose.
Okay, so can I talk about this? Sorry, I'm interrupting here, guys.
take over.
I've spoken to quite a few older people in their 90s and stuff. Usually at work and stuff. I'd literally stop them. And I'd have a conversation with them. Like some of them were 90, and like one guy, the recent one, he was 90 years old. He was an engineer, 92, I think, and perfect health, no cane. He had all his teeth. Of course, money helps. By the way, so that's the first one. But he explained to me. He goes, he eats whatever his body feels like it needs. So he doesn't eat like he's not on a diet. He just eats like he'll have pasta, but he'll have like natural stuff. You know what I mean? And he's very active. Like he goes parasailing all the time. He does sports. He moves around a lot.
Parasailing is a little bit more than active. It's like active is taking a walk every day.
Like he has a sailboat.
Okay. Yeah.
That's what parasailing is, no?
Okay. Yeah, it's not really active. That's like intense fucking activity.
No, parasailing is when you're up in the air.
Yeah, parasailing is the one that
you're being towed behind a boat, and it's like you're.
No. Sorry, he has his own sailboat. Sorry.
No. Isn't parasailing the one with you run off a cliff and you're like the triangle thing and you. Or that's paragliding.
That's paragliding.
That's paragliding.
Yeah.
Parasailing, it's the one with
they're towing you behind a boat, and you're like you're roped up, but you've got this big
the parachute
thing behind you.
That's right. That's right. Whatever it is, it's more than just active. I mean, if he does that, that's fantastic.
It's a sailboat.
Even a sailboat, fucking sailing is not.
Yeah, I don't want to sail. That looks like too much work to me. Terry DeMonte used to say if he ever gets a boat, it needs to have three things: a captain's seat, a throttle, and a cup holder.
Get yourself
Sorry,
a pedal
Poseidon,
boat.
I cut you off.
No worries. So it's just staying active, trying to stay healthy.
Yeah.
That's it. Literally, because what happens is the moment people retire. A lot of people, and I've seen it happen a lot too, because my old job, there used to be a lot of older people, and they'd get this job because they felt like they were dying. So what happens after like 60, the body doesn't have what it needs anymore to repair everything.
I'm sure it happens earlier than that. Yeah.
Depends on who, but like
I read somewhere that, sorry to interrupt you, but when you approach 50, your body loses muscle mass at a much more accelerated pace.
Yes.
Which is why it's important to train, like to actually do weights.
Yeah, this is why you have to keep training.
I exercise just about every day, cross trainer, stationary bike, or swimming, and I go like 45 minutes to an hour, so I go hard. And only in the last year have I noticed my body is, it's been more difficult to recover. My cardio is still really good, but muscles and joints, they don't recover like they used to. Fucking hurts all the time.
Yeah, you got to do weights. It's important because people think, I'll go for a walk. It's nice. It's good. It's better than nothing. But
you have to do
keeping
weights.
your muscle mass is important.
Well, swimming must help there.
Swimming definitely helps for the cardio.
And but for your muscle mass too. Like I weigh
think?
more than I appear to because of swimming, because swimming builds muscle, right?
How much you weigh?
I'm probably about 220, 215, 220.
I would have guessed about that. Yeah.
Would you? Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought I looked about 200.
You look like a solid man, Ted. You don't look flimsy or frail.
I'd like to think not, but give me time.
I won't disappoint you.
So you always have to find a way to keep active, because a lot of times what happens to these older people when they retire, they go, finally I could rest. They just end up resting, just permanently.
Yeah, I think a lot of it's state of mind too. I think people lose sense of purpose, and as a result of that, they don't pursue life with the vigor that you kind of need to keep you going.
I would agree with you if it was just like, the guy retires, the person retires, and then just stays home and has nothing to do, and then health deteriorates, and before you know it, they have health issues. But the people that I'm thinking about are wealthier individuals who planned ahead and decided, okay, now I'm retired, let's go on a cruise, let's go. One of the guys specifically was in Greece. He's like, I'm gonna go enjoy Greece now. I have all the time, I'm gonna tour Greece, I'm gonna go, and he died in Greece. And it's like these types of examples.
But those are the stories you hear about, and I think that's the exception rather than the rule.
Probably.
I don't think most people retire
for
and
sure.
then kick off right
most
away.
people that retire just end up being on a couch, not knowing what to do.
Yeah.
So the lesson here is, don't wait until you retire to enjoy life.
Yeah.
That's what I did. I spent all my money. I front loaded my life with good times, and now I got nothing.
And
okay.
now you're going to have a good 30 years of more fun.
Yeah, well, you know what? I got a son who's going to be very successful, and he's already promised me he'll take care of me. So,
There you go.
Yeah.
Is it written? Is it on paper, Ted? You got to get that shit on paper.
No, it doesn't have to be. Not with Sam. It doesn't have to be with
I'm
Sam.
just kidding.
He's
Sam,
a man of his
if
word.
you're listening, we're just kidding. Yeah, I don't know, man. I enjoy working. I enjoy being active, and I don't know. I think of it very often. Like, what happens when I'm like 65, 70, you know?
Well, I'll
I
tell
don't
you.
want to be at a point where I do nothing and I can't see myself, you know?
I've kind of enjoyed doing nothing since I got fired a few months ago.
Yeah.
I've been sitting around thinking to myself, shit, man, I wish I hadn't had those 2 expensive divorces and I had more money in the bank, because I could get used to this. I like sleeping in and getting up and going, what am I going to do today?
No, that's fine. But to actually have something to do rather than just sitting around slouching and, you know.
Well, you can
freaking-
always find, if you can't find something to do. I mean, you know, we don't live in the fucking desert or anything. We're living in a big metropolitan city. There's lots to do.
For sure, but look, I've been to so many seniors' residences, and it's nice that they're there and that they can have the company, right? Because maybe at home they don't have the care that they would deserve. But in many cases, you walk in and they're all just sitting on the couch, you know,
Yeah.
watching the TV.
Well, here's the thing, too. If you don't have your health, you have nothing, right? It doesn't matter how much money you've got.
Yeah.
If you don't have your health, my ex-mother-in-law is suffering from dementia, and it's really, really sad. And although it has actually inspired my daughter to want to
look into the field.
she wants to work with the elderly. Yeah, she's from going to visit her grandmother. She's come to really enjoy interacting with the elderlies, as she calls them, and she wants to work in that field.
I don't know what
If I ever get dementia or like I'm really suffering from stuff like that, I want somebody to just like butter the stairs.
That's a good way.
Yeah, but you won't know.
Exactly.
It's
I just
it's
fell.
the worst thing. And I was listening. I can't remember where I was listening to this. I don't know if it was on the radio or on TV. They were saying that in the last 20 years, dementia has increased so much. Like, they can't really explain why it's so much more common now than it was.
Is
like
it more
20
common, or is it just being diagnosed more? Because it could be like PTSD. PTSD in military veterans is exploding, but it used to be, I can remember when I was a kid, it was, Dad doesn't like to talk about the war. When you look at that in retrospect, that's because Dad
That's
had
what it was.
PTSD.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now
Maybe.
it's diagnosed and treated. Back
Yeah.
then it was like...
He's just old. That's what happens. Yeah, he's just an old man.
Yeah, he just, he doesn't want to talk about the war. Don't ask him about the war.
Maybe. I don't know. But that's horrible. I know a lot of people that have had Alzheimer's. My aunt died from Alzheimer's in Greece, and it was just, seeing the deterioration. It's the worst thing, because, like you said, you don't know.
Yeah.
You think everything is fine, but the people around you are fucking living their worst life. You know what I mean? Yeah. Man, it's what a bad way to start the fucking podcast.
Well, listen, you know what? We can segue that. I watched the Celine movie on Prime this week. There's a new movie on Prime called I Am: Celine Dion.
It's more like a documentary kind of thing, right?
Yeah, it's a documentary about Celine's struggle with the neurological condition that she has called stiff person syndrome. And when I was watching it, I thought of that old expression, if you don't have your health, you have nothing. Because she doesn't have her health, and she can't sing the way she used to sing. This neurological condition affects her ability to sing. And she's living in this fabulous estate in the Nevada desert, in or out just outside of Las Vegas. And she's got everything you would ever need and a whole lot more.
Probably way more than anyone else has access to. Yeah, in terms of
but
care.
she's so sad.
Yeah.
She's so sad and devastated that this gift that she had has been taken away from her. And it was very raw, and I was quite impressed with how she opened herself up. Like, it was a real intimate look at her life. And she didn't get all dolled up in makeup for most of it. Most of it, a lot of it was shot around her house or when she was out at doctor's appointments. And no makeup, no fancy clothes. She looked like ma tante Huguette from Saint-Cyboire-de-Simonac. And it was.
Is this treatable?
It's treatable, but I don't believe it's curable.
Right.
And it would show her in the studio, and she's trying to hit those notes that she used to be able to hit, and she can't fucking.
She can't.
Yeah, and it devastates her.
Yeah.
It devastates her. And that's a case of someone who, it's kind of be careful what you wish for. She was such an enormous success with worldwide notoriety that her identity is totally caught up in being Celine Dion, the singer. You can see that she's a good mom. She loves her kids. It becomes apparent as you watch her reflect on her marriage. I think she was a good husband to Renee Angelil, even though that relationship got off to a bit of a weird start when, she made him supper in her Easy Bake Oven on their first date. But you could just see that not being able to be Celine Dion, the superstar diva anymore, is devastating to her. Her identity is completely wrapped
Especially
up
when
in that.
you've lived in that world for the better part of your life, right? I mean, that's who you are. Like you said, it's part of your identity.
Yeah, and it's also not just ego. It brought her great joy. You could see that being on stage, and she talks about that, about the difference between being in the studio. In the studio, you go in, you sing, you listen back, and you go, that was good. Yeah, that album's going to do well, she said, but there's no comparison to being on stage.
Not getting the energy of the people in the crowd.
Interacting with the crowd. And the crowd, her fans adore her.
Sure.
Adore her.
Didn't she break some kind of record when she started doing Vegas? I mean, she was...
Probably.
They had to build this whole amphitheater for her. I don't know if it's true, Poseidon, maybe you can look that up, but I think I read somewhere that her opening act was Elton John. What? Can you imagine that?
Great. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if it's true though. I hope it wasn't like some fabrication or whatever. But I read that summer, or I heard that summer, that Celine Dion, like when she
2006.
her opening act was Elton John.
Yeah.
Jesus Murphy.
In what world does that fucking happen?
Yeah.
Somebody asked, why is Celine Dion important to Canada?
Yeah, people don't know. It's fine. But I think because I've heard her in some interviews, and she's determined to make it back on stage.
Watching that movie, you get the impression it's not going to happen.
Right, eh? But we're going to talk about the NHL draft and how the Montreal Canadiens brought her out to announce their first one. She seemed perfect, right?
Yeah. Yeah, well, she seems perfect when she's being interviewed in this documentary. She's when she's just having conversation or whatever, she's doing fine. Then you see her in the studio trying to hit those notes, and she can't fucking do it.
Maybe she could start like this unplugged kind of thing where she doesn't have to hit those high notes, and she sings more, mellow stuff. And I don't know.
Maybe, but
then again, it's not her.
Yeah,
right? It's not
exactly, and that's probably not who the fans want. But I strongly recommend it. Like I can, as a music fan. And
this is on Apple?
No, it's on
Amazon? Prime. Okay.
Amazon, yeah. As a music fan, and I'm a big music fan, I can take or leave Celine. I recognize what a huge talent she is, but it's not really the style of music that I listen to. But from a pop culture icon point of view, to watch that story, it's what a story. And it's really well done. The movie's really well done, and like I say, I was really impressed with how she opened up her home and herself to, there's one scene where she's actually having a seizure.
Is that the one where she's on the bed, she's lying down? Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
There was a clip I saw.
It just so happens that while they were filming her at her therapist's, she had a seizure.
Yeah.
And, obviously, the doctor at one point says, or somebody says, should we take the cameras out? And I think it was her who said no. And, obviously in post-production, they had to look at that and go, do we leave that in? And I would guess it would be her call, because she was the one who was being vulnerable, right?
Yeah. It's nice though that she left it in. Like, this is the reality.
Yeah, that's it.
And I had never heard of this condition either before her.
Stiff person syndrome, it's called. And it's a tightening of the muscles, including the vocal cords.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. And it was, like I say, I was really impressed with how she opened herself up for that.
But that must have, it didn't just happen. She must have had She must have been suffering from this or had early signs of it years ago.
I think
maybe.
she said it's been 17 years that she's been struggling with this.
And she kept it under.
I guess, yeah.
And she was getting medication for it.
She was getting medication for it. I don't know if it got progressively worse, but I know that at one point she threw out the figure 17 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. You know, it's so impressive. Well, I don't know the level of the condition that she had, because obviously, like you said, maybe it got worse over time. But to think that you have that and you know, kept it from people, but still fought through it to have, you know, the career and everything that she did, it's impressive still.
Yeah.
To know that shit, what if I lose a note? What if I get a seizure or whatever? What if something happens during my live performances? She was the star of Vegas for so long. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, some people, I read some reviews on it and like professional reviews and then just consumer reviews. And some people are saying, oh, yeah, it's easy for her because she's got all the money and the rich people can get the treatment and blah, 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 blah. That doesn't, I suppose it makes it easier in some ways, but you're still suffering. You're still, and it still comes back to if you don't have your health, you have nothing.
Yeah.
And no amount of money is going to give her back what she misses the most.
Exactly.
That's either going to come from God or it's not going to happen at all.
What did you think of the NHL draft since we mentioned it? I mean, I don't, like I've said it before, I'm not the biggest sports fan. I mean, I know people that put that in their calendar every fucking year. They have to watch it.
Oh, yeah. Hockey fans, the draft is...
like, they know all these kids being drafted. Yeah. They know where they play. They know their stats.
Yeah.
It's for me, I think that's a sickness. It's not normal.
No, it's just being a fan.
Ah, man, it's way more
is there
than
nothing,
that.
Is there nothing that you're that passionate about?
I don't know. I'd have to think of it. I mean, I'm sure there is, but... or maybe not. I don't know.
I meant to write this down, and I didn't. I wanted to... give the name of the Canadiens PR assistant whose idea it was to bring Celine to the draft. She announced the Canadiens' first round pick.
What a move.
Yeah, it was a great move. It was Chantal Maccabee is the Canadiens' vice president of communications.
Yeah, she's the comms girl, yeah.
Yeah.
It was her idea?
No.
Okay.
It was a guy who's right under her. Here he is. This is from Stu Cowan from the Gazette, from his Twitter feed. Charles Sandin-Courtois, Canadiens' manager of hockey communications, came up with the idea to have Celine Dion announce Ivan Demidov as the number 5 overall pick last night. It was his boss, Chantal Maccabee, who then called Celine. How cool is that, eh? And Celine's a Habs fan. When the Canadiens were in Vegas last season, she came with her sons.
Oh, yeah,
and visited the dressing room. Yeah, but she was, I don't know if you can play that clip. I sent you the clip, Poseidon. If you can play the clip of Celine.
The trailer?
No. Play the other one
clip.
first.
The hockey one?
The hockey one. Yeah, here she is. She's up on the stage. And she's announcing.
She looks phenomenal.
She looks great, and she sounds good, too.
What a move.
The 5th
Which
overall
other team can do this?
selection in the 2024 NHL Draft. The Montreal Canadiens are proud to select Ivan Demidov.
The most dramatic draft announcement of all time.
Okay.
There he is, the 6', 190-pound Russian. He's dominated the Russian junior level, back-to-back MVPs of that level. Some believe he's the most skilled player in the draft. Do you, Megan Jacob?
Yeah, great pick, by the way. The Canadiens did
Was that
well
in
again.
Vegas?
What's that? Yeah, that was in Vegas.
Dome.
Yeah,
It was the Dome, yeah.
So Celine looks good there.
Yeah.
Her hair's done. She's made up. She's got a nice dress
sounds
on.
good. The voice
But
sounds good.
if you can, I didn't watch the trailer all the way through, but I don't know if you can play it.
I'm not
Poseidon.
sure. Maybe really low.
Yeah, you might see parts of it here where she's not, like, she's made up there. She's in the studio there, and that's earlier in her career. That's not.
Yeah.
That's
She doesn't
a number
look
of
like that.
years
No.
ago.
Yeah.
But you'll see her, some of the interviews. Oh, good, there's subtitles, so that helps.
She's so good. My God, she's so fucking talented.
Yeah. So this is all older. Here she is. Now
Yeah,
look, there's
yeah.
that's Ma Tante Guette, right?
So she can't sing anymore because of her condition?
She can sing. She
could,
just
she-
can't hit those notes that she used to hit.
What a star.
Yeah. And from Charlemagne, Quebec, with 13 brothers and sisters. Classic French-Canadian family, eh?
It's crazy how the world works, huh? Like, it's a very rare neurological disorder, and it hit.
A very rare talent. Somebody, a 1 in a million
That's-
talent.
yeah, that's-
A 1 in a million disease hits a 1 in a million talent.
That's so strange.
Yeah.
Isn't that strange?
Yeah, 1 in a million would be actually, she'd be more like 1 in a billion almost, her. Because she's so talented. But I strongly recommend it. Like I say, Celine is to me, as I know who she is. I have all the respect in the world for her, but I was never, big Celine fan necessarily, but I really enjoyed the movie.
No, but
it was great.
it's hard as a Quebecer not to appreciate this
Yeah.
woman.
Yeah.
It's almost impossible. And I hate it. I think I was already working in politics. It was I can't remember what it was for. Was it the Saint Jean or some fucking thing in Quebec where she came to perform in the plains, plains in Quebec City. And she never charged. It was fucking
Free?
Yeah. And Quebecers were always criticizing her. Like the media would bash her.
Yeah,
they're
I
always
know. I
bitter
don't get
about
that.
the fact that she's such a mega star and she
Why
went
wouldn't
away
she
to
be
make
proud?
money. Who gives a shit what
Yeah.
she did? Good for her, man. If you had her talent,
Quebec
you
media,
do the same.
Quebec media isn't proud of their own stars at home until they leave.
But also the humility that she has to just ignore that noise and
Yeah.
say, fuck, who cares about that? I'm there for the fans and forget about what they say about me. I'll just go do the show and that's it. But
And they knew from the get-go, like Renee Angelil in particular,
What a
recognized when she
bet
was
he made,
she was a snaggletooth 13-year-old, he was like, she's going to be a fucking.
he was a
superstar.
struggling musician and producer himself. I think.
was, yeah.
I had read something about him. He was in a boy band back in the 50s, I think 60s. You can look up the picture, Poseidon.
No way.
Yeah, he looks like this fucking ogre, this weird boy band that never made it anywhere. And then he tried producing artists, representing artists, and managing them and everything. And I don't know if he had that much success. And then he gave everything up for Celine. He's like, "This is it. I'm focusing 100% on this little girl."
Yeah.
And fucking he won.
Good call.
He won.
Yeah.
It's strange that he ended up marrying her, to be honest with you. I mean, the guy was in his 50s when she was like 14 or something like that, or in his 40s.
I don't think the age difference was that big, but it was a good 25 to 30 years, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a little disturbing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, listen, you know what? Like I say, watching the documentary, it seemed to me like they
Yeah, they were in
seemed
love,
pretty-
yeah.
exactly. Yeah, it just got off to a bit of a weird start,
Yeah.
Jeepers, mister. Were you in the war?
Oh my God. So strange. But then again, who knows? I mean, different generation. I mean, she comes from a family of 14 kids.
Yeah.
She's the last one, I think.
I think you're right.
she's
I
the
think
baby
she's
of
the
14.
youngest, yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know.
Anyway, I would recommend the movie.
I'm gonna watch it. I'm definitely watch it. Let's go back to the draft. So you follow that? Are you like that level fan?
I'm not so much of a fan that I know all the guys and all their stats or anything like that. Like I used to be when I was younger. I was like that, but not now. Yeah, but I watched the highlights of this kid the Canadians drafted, Ivan Demidov. I watched his highlight package and they drafted him at number 5, and I thought to myself, are you telling me there are 4 other guys even fucking better than that?
Wow.
Really? But some people who know more than me about it and follow it closer than me, they say, no, the Canadians got a steal. Canadians were lucky that he was still there at number 5, and they were smart to snatch him up.
Who was it? I read somewhere. I don't know if it's true because it's weird how social media feed works now. Like on Facebook, everything is just an ad. You don't get your friend's feed anymore. Anyway, and I get these random things, and I don't even know if they're true or not. But there was an article, and I didn't click on it. I don't want to engage the algorithm. That there's a team already negotiating with the Canadians to get this guy.
If that was from a site called All Habs, fucking
that's probably what it was.
block them. Fucking block them. It's clickbait horseshit.
Really?
I don't know how.
I think that's what it
stuff
was. Now that you mention it,
I don't know how stuff like I see ridiculous headlines like that, and then I look up and I go, all Habs. Yeah, that fucking thing. They just fucking make shit up.
Really?
And then if you click on it, you get a bunch of ads for cryptocurrency.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I never click on these things. So I read the headlines and I know that I see sponsored or whatever. I'm like, fuck that shit. You know?
It's all crypto marketing.
I spend more time on Facebook pressing X, like just to delete these things from my feed. And I don't know what the fuck's up with Facebook lately. That's all I see.
Yeah.
It's not like back in the day where you just had your friend stuff.
I go down the rabbit hole of reels.
Yeah, that's dangerous.
Yeah, like with the Italian belching guy. Can we play
That's
that?
so
Can we play that
fucking
guy?
funny, man.
Yes, sir.
God damn, that's funny.
I came across
I was
last
telling
night.
Ted in the car, guys are so stupid.
Yeah.
Like we're such dumb
Before you play
humans.
Poseidon, this is a kid in Italy, and I had a friend like this in high school. My friend Zeke, like 50 years ago in the early 1970s, Zeke could belch the fucking alphabet, right? And that's what this. I didn't think this was for real. I thought at first that this was like, post production, but this kid can actually do this. He sucks in all this fucking air, and it mixes in with the gases in his stomach or digestive system, and he belches. And it's gross, but I can't help it. It fucking kills me. So he's at the drive-through. I think he's at McDonald's here.
Just warning everyone, we're gonna laugh like idiots because that's what we do.
He's at the drive-through in Milan, Italy.
Venume affamato. Buonasera, venume affamato. Abbiamo un coupon.
That's impressive.
Why are we laughing? Fucking it's so stupid.
I think he's not done.
Quattro, 2, 9, 7, 9.
How he extends the last one. Coupon number. Coca.
Coca-Cola per fare tutti meglio.
We're so stupid.
Christ.
Ketchup. Sì.
We're so dumb. Fuck.
That poor kid's not going to have a stomach left by the time he's...
Gentilissima.
Gentilissima.
Buonasera.
Oh my God. I can watch shit like this all day.
That poor kid's not going to have a stomach left by the time he's 35 years old.
Who cares? He'll have fucking awesome content online.
Yeah, he sure will.
Oh, jeez.
The belching Italian kid. Too much.
What happened this week, guys?
Well, we got to talk about the
you can't
debate.
not talk about that, right?
my God.
I mean, did you watch the whole? First of all, let me just preface this. I didn't watch it purposely. I'm like, look, there's no way that I can sit patiently and watch a debate between these two fucking people.
Well, I watch most
can't
of
do
it because it's like watching a car wreck, right? You can't turn away.
But I'm like, at some point, I'm like, I gotta go watch clips or something. And I saw a couple things online. So again, I didn't see any of it other than a couple clips that went
Where Biden
into the
just
media.
completely loses his train of thought.
It's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Let's play the clip.
And I'm not on either side here. I'm just saying that we cannot be living in a world where these two guys.
Are the
Yo, look, Trump is old, but he's seeking the presidency.
Yeah, Trump has still got his wits about him, and the look on his face. He looks at Biden here almost like he's concerned for him. He's like, is he having a stroke?
No, but at some point, I don't know if this is the clip where he's like, I'm not so sure what he said.
No, this isn't the same clip.
I don't think he understood either.
Yeah, this isn't the same clip.
By the way, before we continue, I just read a meme online. It says, so when a crow recognizes patterns, it's intelligent and really cool. But when I do it, I'm racist and anti-Semitic.
Yeah.
You're so stupid.
Watch the look that Trump gives him here when Biden starts to lose his train of thought. It's almost a look of concern.
Solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the with the COVID. Excuse me, with dealing with everything we have to do with. Look, if we finally beat Medicare,
Thank you, President Biden. President.
We finally beat Medicare.
It's not even funny.
No.
Honestly,
No, you were talking about senior citizens losing it. There's there's an example.
No, but
right
for me,
there.
it goes way above and beyond that. I mean, if in any other professional setting, if there was a senior citizen that was in this condition, you would yell out fucking abuse, right? I mean, why are you abusing this poor citizen? Like, he can't work anymore. Why are you putting this guy to work? Why are we doing this? Why? What's wrong with this fucking party?
Because he's a front man, and the people.
No, but at some
he's
point,
got, he's got
real-
puppet masters, and it serves their purpose for him to be in charge.
They'll always have puppets. So find someone else that is more capable than this guy. You're going to control them anyway. So just control someone that is at least appearing more capable.
Yeah.
What a disaster.
Do you know why? It's because they had nobody else to run against Trump, because Trump would have won again. But the thing is, they banked on the popularity of Obama, because during Obama's presidency, he was vice president. So they banked on that. Like, okay, people knew him, Joe Biden.
No, but he was good. I've seen clips where they compare, and he
Yeah,
was
I saw that
quick,
this
man.
week too.
Biden
Yeah.
wasn't bad.
Yeah,
he was
like,
amazing.
Yeah, like 8 years ago.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, he had a shit in the pile. Yeah.
Well, the vice presidential debate that he did, I can't remember against who. Was it Sarah Palin?
Yes.
Was it? Yeah. I
believe so.
He was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
He was great. Like, I mean, the deterioration happened so quickly for this guy. I feel bad, and I don't understand why, especially his family, keeps him there.
Well, I've heard a lot of people say that that Jill is the power behind the throne to a large extent, and she likes being the first lady. And did you see the clip of her? They held a rally after the debate.
The day right after, they were on damage control.
I think it was the same night, and she's going, "Joe, you did so good. You answered all their questions." Like she was talking to
a toddler. Good job.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
You didn't give up.
Yeah, Pete Merrier, my old friend from Showham, said to me, "Tad, I've had kids, and I know what hands look when they shit their pants."
There's no doubt about it. Like, it was an hour and a half, no? The debate?
Yes. Yeah.
Do you think, honestly, for an hour and a half, these guys, both of them, maybe less Trump, but especially Biden, didn't have to fucking pee?
Probably,
for an hour and a half.
yeah.
To stand there for an hour and a half. I can't do that now.
Maybe they gave him a catheter. Who knows?
Oh, no, he had a diaper on, guaranteed.
Oh, Christ. That's awful. The guy with the nuclear codes wearing a fucking diaper. Got the nuclear codes? Yep. Got the adult Pampers? Yep. Okay, let's go.
President, it's the button. It's the red button.
So maybe I heard it speculated they trotted him out this early in the debates in order to make it obvious to everyone that he needs to be replaced. So then now they have a bit of a window. But he's fighting it, apparently.
But the window is so small.
I know,
you
I
can't.
know.
But then again, it's the States.
It's now or
there
never.
is so much money that you can put up a campaign in no time, especially if you're the Democratic Party. You know, it's very interesting what you're talking about. Because we had I just lost my train of thought. You were saying
What are you,
that
Joe Biden?
Yeah. What were you just saying? You were talking about
the window of
party?
opportunity.
Yeah.
And trotting him out early so that they can have an excuse to replace him.
Fuck, I had something.
Before that, I was talking about catheters, and we were talking about shit in your pants.
Oh, God, I forgot. Because we had Valérie Baudouin. Valérie Baudouin, she's a journalist here in Quebec, and she does a lot of the U.S. politics in a bunch of stations on RDI, and she's on the radio. Fuck, I can't believe I forgot where I was going with this. Oh yeah, about the debate being so early, and we asked her. We're like, "This is strange, right?" And I
You had her on
on
Politique Parlement?
a while back. Very interesting. She got so much hate message. Oh my God!
Really?
Well, yeah, because she spoke about Trump, and so everyone kind of came out against her. But she's very intelligent. She knows so much about American politics. Like how we're talking about the draft and how people know stats of these juniors.
Yeah.
She knows shit like that for
About
American
politics.
and like these secondary states and the politicians running there and the candidates running like in state legislatures. Like she's messed up like that, right? And we asked her about the debates, but I agree more about with what you said, that do it early. Let's fucking green light it rather than waiting in September.
Make it obvious that he's not fit,
I would,
so we can get him out of there and get in a capable
because
candidate.
what she thought, which isn't wrong either, she said, listen, the reason why they're accepting this is because it falls outside of the rules of the whatever electoral or organization. I don't know. Who's behind the organization of the debates. Where there are rules set and there's certain criteria and there's all these things that you need to follow. Whereas now, if you decide, hey, you and me, let's go at it, you fall outside of those norms and you can do whatever the fuck you want, right? So they set the rules themselves. They agreed to them. They had the mute button or whatever. So there's all these things you can do. You can block, for example, Robert Kennedy Jr., who wanted to participate. Like, fuck that, you're not included. It's just between me and him. So you control your agenda. So she thought that, look, they do that because they want to get their word out before, you're in the rush of the elections, and you control everything you want. So
by you, do you mean both sides get to control their message, or are you talking about one side or the other?
No, because they get to pick the rules. Yeah. So they agreed to them. They had their debate, like we saw, and it falls outside of the norms and the rules of whatever electoral division controls and organizes the debates usually, right?
Right, yeah.
Because
there was no exchange, right? They weren't yelling over each other, which sometimes can be interesting and entertaining.
Of course, I love that, but there was a mute button.
Yeah,
the moderator had a mute button, so you had 2 minutes, and then boop, they mute your mic. So,
and the moderators didn't really challenge either one of them on.
So there you have it. It's much more controlled. You control the rules. You control the agenda. You can say, look, we're going to talk about this, and that topic. That's it. Whereas in an actual debate, you don't get to choose. The moderators choose. So she thought it was mostly because of that. But I think I agree with what you're saying more. That let's greenlight this shit. I mean, there's nobody in the Democratic Party that believes that Joe Biden has what it takes to be president. That I can't believe. There's nobody in the right mind anywhere in the Democratic Party in the U.S. that says this guy's the perfect guy for the job.
Yeah, it's like Weekend at Bernie's.
So there's something wrong somewhere. And maybe they've been looking at opportunities to squeeze this guy out.
So who do they put in? You can't put in Kamala Harris. Gavin Newsom is the name I keep hearing.
I've been hearing
Governor
as well.
of California.
That's what I've been hearing. I don't follow American politics that much. I don't know if he's good at all.
No, nor do
California's
a mess.
Yeah.
It's a shame that California is such a mess, man. I would move there in a heartbeat.
I visited San Francisco a while back with my wife back in 2000, and she was pregnant, so it must have been 2014, early 2014, I think. And I love San Francisco.
It depends on where you go.
Yeah, but even then, there were some areas where fuck is this shit? You know?
The first time I went was in 1990, and I knew nothing about San Francisco, and I found a good deal on a Best Western in the Mission District, not realizing the Mission District meant like the Mission is where the homeless people go, right?
Yeah, but it's transformed. Yeah. When I was there, the Mission District is where you want it to be.
Oh, it's trendy?
Yeah.
Because, really? Yeah. Interesting.
Think of it like the plateau kind of thing. Like back in the day, when we would go out, St. Lawrence and St. Catherine, you didn't go there. It was drugs and prostitutes.
Yeah.
When we used to go out, my dad's like, stay away from St. Lawrence and St. Catherine, that fucking corner. And then it transformed.
Well,
completely.
One of the all-time great panhandler lines I ever heard was on that trip. I gave a guy a couple of bucks one morning, and then that afternoon I ran into the same guy, and he hit me up again. I said, I gave you money this morning. He goes, I have different needs this afternoon.
But I love the city, though. Beautiful city.
Oh, San Francisco's spectacular.
And it reminded me a lot of Montreal. The bridges, the water. Yeah. It was really nice.
Yeah.
It was really nice.
Yeah. San Diego looks awfully nice, too.
I didn't go there.
I'm not sure if you run into the same kind of homelessness issues in San Diego. And I'm just talking out of my ass here because I don't know for sure. But I get the feeling that San Diego is more livable. There's a better quality of life there and less crime
than the rest of
and less homelessness than in the other big cities like LA and San Francisco.
LA, forget about LA.
I liked LA a lot. But I was in West Hollywood, so uncomparable.
Yeah, it was the nice part of LA.
I'm guessing, yeah. And like I drove in the hills. Oh man,
the Hollywood Hills.
Oh man, it was like I was in Greece.
Yeah,
but with more money.
For sure.
And not as many goats.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. And what was weird is as soon as I opened the window, I was instantly transported to Greece. It had the same smell. The same smell, that saltwater air.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. Every time I smell that, it's like I come back to life, man.
Yeah, water's nice. Water's nice. The sea is nice here in Greece, though. I've never seen a sea as beautiful as the Adriatic
Have you been?
Ocean. Yeah.
Oh, man. How beautiful.
The blue of the Aegean. The blue of the Aegean.
The Aegean, yeah. What am I saying? The Adriatic, the Aegean, yeah. And a nice.
It's so dark blue.
And it's not bathwater warm. It's got just enough of a bite to it that it really refreshes you when you go in. Oh, spectacular.
And you could see right to the bottom.
Yeah,
man.
just
I remember I was in Chios. I was with one of my friends, and there was a beach that basically what they did was they blew up a mountain to make a road. And what that did by blowing up the mountain, it ended up making this beach, right? And you'd have the water from the mountain flow directly, like we could see it. There was the river flowing directly into the sea. And
must have been cold.
It was really cold, but it was turquoise and it was HD. Like that's how clear it was. Like I put goggles on, man, and like I could see the little. I was like it must have been like 20 feet deep of water. I could see right to the bottom, man.
Yeah, nice and clear.
I saw a little octopus swimming. It was like red and white.
Nah, there's nice places. I remember when we were in San Francisco, we drove up to Napa Valley, and that's beautiful. Jeez, it's
wine
nice.
country.
Yeah. Wow, it was nice. It was beautiful. My wife couldn't drink. She couldn't taste the cheeses either.
Pregnant, yeah.
And I was like, listen, we're not coming back here. So
could she drive?
She could drive. Yeah,
then you can drink.
Yeah. No, but I didn't care. And she's like, please don't feel bad because, just have it. I'm like, you sure? Meanwhile, inside me, I'm like, please say yes. I don't give a fuck that you can't drink. I just want to have this shit. So, it was beautiful, though. It was beautiful.
Good wine?
Amazing. Yeah. We had we went to this place and there was like a tasting that you can do, and they brought different cheeses and stuff. It was really nice. Really beautiful. I don't know, man. Like every time we, you talk about all these different places that we visited or that you see, you're like, what the fuck are we doing here? I don't know, man. We've had this conversation so many times.
This used to be, you could live a good life, man, until Trudeau plummeted the country into darkness.
Forget about the politics, man. Forget. Put the politics aside, because anywhere you go, you're probably going to come across something similar, right? I mean, we were just talking about California being destroyed. Forget about that. We're talking about...
Yeah, but I'd rather struggle in nice weather than cold weather.
That's what it is. So put politics aside. How do you feel going out and taking that deep breath? Like you said, that you have that hot air. You're like, oh my God, this feels good. You see the sea. You're like, wow.
Yeah.
Even here sometimes, like when I'm driving and I'm in the South Shore, so sometimes, I drive on the 132 and you see the river. And I'm like, oh, like there's something that happens to you automatically. I don't know if it happens to you, but forget about where you are. The minute that you see water, there's like, oh, this relief. My God's like, wow, fuck, you feel good.
It's and my problems disappear.
Yeah.
All my problems.
Like for a couple minutes, you're like, wow.
Yeah, every little thing that I was thinking of, stressed about, it just disappears, man. It's so strange, eh? It's so strange. I could I don't know. I could owe $1 million to a loan shark. That
you don't care.
I don't care. What's he gonna do?
But
Kill you.
Yeah, he could fucking kill you. Put you in a suitcase.
I got this moment.
Yeah,
fuck it.
And that has happened to me in not just Greece, anywhere where your eyes hit water. There's something happens to me. I don't know about you guys, but I think I've told you the story before. When I was living in Greece, I was living like really downtown Athens, and a couple days, or especially in the weekend, when I would go see my family, they live in the southern suburbs there of Athens. Next
Athens is a port city, right? Piraeus, is that what they call the port there?
The port, yeah. It's a port city.
Yeah, but it's probably filthy.
No, Paris is nice. They've cleaned it up. There's some nice bars and clubs and tavernas. Oh, fucking
But the water is clean?
No, man, of course not.
Okay.
I thought you were talking about as a city, like as a district. It used to be bad. I mean, it's like any other
Sort of like
port
Marseille
city.
in France. I always get the impression that Marseille would be a dirty, like a real cool French place, but a dirty
I don't know.
port city.
I don't know. I've never been there, but we used to hang out in Paris. There was so many nice spots there.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah. But I would, you take a cab and we would leave, and I would leave, and then as soon as you hit the coastal road there, Paraliaki, to go into the suburbs.
Highway.
The coastal, the board, the Paraliaki, Poseidonos. As soon as you fucking came out of that downtown area and you hit that highway to go into the southeast kind of districts of Athens, you have the sea to your right and you're driving on the highway and it's just open. It's just water.
The Aegean.
You're like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Like you take a deep breath and you just feel better.
Yeah.
I don't know what happens. You just feel better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like when you take your shoes off and you touch grass with your feet, or you
I
touch
don't know about
sand,
that, dude. I mean,
or you touch sand. No, it's true. Think about it.
yeah. I hate putting my feet in sand.
Well, the grass is always greener, right? And we could live in worse places than here. And I'll tell you what I like about here, and this is
Yeah, we
something
could
that
have
you
been born
guys-
in Bangladesh or something.
That's right.
Yeah.
You guys take this for granted because this is what you grew up with. But I was thinking about this as we're driving here today. George takes a phone call. Me and George are talking in English. He takes a phone call in French. He has the phone conversation in French. Last week we were sitting in here and you were talking to your two little girls in Greek. You guys speak 3 languages like that without him having given it a thought, because that's how you grew up. And you came by that naturally. I'll never forget that when I first came to Montreal. And my first wife was Italian, and her and her friends would just shift effortlessly from Italian to English to French back to Italian.
Yeah.
And it always blew my mind, But they were like, well, yeah, of course we do, because grew up in an Italian household in a French neighborhood and went to English school.
Yeah.
But same as you guys, I guess, except Greek, right?
Yeah.
So that's. I don't think there are very many cities in the world where you get that kind
I
of,
don't think so
of an
either.
advantage. And look at your children, because your wife is Italian. Your kids speak
She's
4
Spanish.
languages.
Yeah,
Or, I'm
Colombian.
sorry, she's Colombian. So your kids speak 4 languages.
Yeah.
They've got Spanish as part of their arsenal.
Yeah.
What a fucking opportunity. What doors will that open for them?
No.
Your kids speak 4 languages. Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
They can work anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
Anywhere.
Yeah.
They speak the 3 main languages of the world.
Is French still considered a main
100%.
Probably because
Yes.
of Africa, eh?
Because of
the African
Africa,
nations.
North Africa, and there are still some, even Senegal speaks a lot in French.
Probably Indochina as well. French Indochina, Thailand, Vietnam, Laos. Those were French colonies.
They still speak French? Yeah.
I think they still speak some French there.
West Indies, some West Indian
Yep.
countries. So there's a lot of French. And then I think the other main language is Mandarin, but that's just because there's so many of them.
Yeah, probably Hindi probably ranks up there at this point.
Yeah.
too. My daughter from my first marriage speaks Italian because the grandparents were her daycare, right? So she's French, English, Italian. She lives in France now, and she's got, because her mom was born in Europe, she's got her European passport, and she can just move effortlessly through Europe.
Yeah.
In terms of getting through red tape and in terms of language.
Yeah.
Wherever she is. Unless she's in the middle of nowhere in rural Germany where they only speak German, she might be up a tree there. But other than that, if you got English, French, and Italian, you should be able to manage okay. Right?
Yeah, sure. No, you're definitely right. I mean, I can't think of any other major city where you can have that kind of privilege.
Yeah.
The main European cities also, though, like in Athens, there's a lot of, like I was listening when I landed in 2014, 2015, I spoke to them in Greek, of course, but I heard like the lady at the welcome desk, English, French, no problem. Obviously with an accent.
No, but it's very common in Europe for kids to learn other languages. There's no question there. The difference, though, however, is that they don't use them on a daily basis like we do.
Okay,
to converse with people. It's like, I'm going to talk to you in English, and then when I feel like it, and when the word doesn't come, I'm going to spit out a Greek word, and you're going to understand.
Well, you did that already. That's what reminded me when you were trying to describe the coastal road outside of Athens, and you couldn't think of it in English, so you just went to Greek.
So who does that?
Yeah, no, I see what you mean. I see what you mean. Okay, I get it now. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I used to see with my ex-wife and her friends. Like I say, they would just from one language to the other, just the way you shift gears in a car. Okay, I'm downshifting into Italian now. Okay, upshifting back to French.
Like think of your friends or your family in Greece. Okay, obviously they're going to speak Greek to each other, but never ever in their sentences are they going to throw in a French or an English word. You know?
It's true, my mother.
It doesn't happen. That won't happen ever, even though they can speak English or French or any other language, German probably or whatever.
My Spanish is getting better.
Yeah, how? Why? Because you
I
get
can
the
understand
tourists?
more. Yeah,
It's easy to understand
more.
Spanish.
Yeah.
It's easy. Yeah.
And even the words they'll come to me a bit faster now. People ask me like, "Hey, where'd you learn your Spanish?" I go like this, talking to people. Mm-hmm. It's the best way.
Talking to people where? Where are you learning Spanish? At the airport?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Allegedly.
Okay.
Why are you ashamed, man?
I'm not ashamed. I don't know.
Hey, I want to, since we spoke about the NHL, I just want to go back to this thing I sent you about Shea Weber. I didn't know that Shea Weber was still signed to a team. I had no idea he was on contract.
Yeah.
And then I read that he was going to be inducted in the Hall of Fame this year. And there's this whole thing happening now because he's still on contract. I think we traded him to the Predators. The Predators traded him to Arizona, which now has a new
Arizona
team
used to move to Utah.
So there's a new team now, or
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Arizona doesn't exist anymore. Now they're Utah.
Fucking
They're
Utah.
The Utah Mormons.
Just a small parenthesis. I'm just gonna fucking draw a tangent here. How does the NHL choose Utah over Quebec City?
Money.
How does that? Yeah, but how does that
Money.
make sense? Yeah, but money, Ted. Money. You need to make money. Who's gonna watch hockey in Utah?
I understand, but at the end of the day, the explanation is in money, is in dollar signs. Money talks. I don't know what Utah came up with more money than Quebec City could have come up with.
For what though? Because
I don't
Quebec
know.
has
I
their
don't know.
stadium.
I
They have
know.
all
I
the
know.
facilities are ready to go. They
I
have the
guess
fans.
maybe they're looking at it long term. I don't know.
Utah, fuck anyways, whatever. So he's been traded there. He's, I guess, still on some injured list or whatever it is.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to play again.
No, I know that, but
Yeah.
so they're frustrated. They're because the article that I sent you, basically, they're in shock because like, how the fuck the NHL Hall of Fame bring this guy?
Well, I guess he must be eligible. I guess because he hasn't played in, I think it's 3 years since he's played.
But he's on contract though. Doesn't
I
that-
know. I know.
Has that ever happened before?
I don't know.
What about Gordie Howe? Was he inducted in the Hall of Fame before he came back? Because he left and came back, no?
Yeah, that's a good
Or
question.
he never quit.
I don't remember. Who knows? Gordie Howe was 40 when he was born. You ever see that picture of Gordie Howe on a fishing boat?
He's fucking ripped.
Yeah.
that one. And he's like in his 50s or something.
Yeah.
Fucking ripped. Just born
totally
for sports.
jacked. Yeah. I was surprised. That Weber was a first ballot Hall of Famer. He was a good defenseman, but he battled injuries and
No Stanley Cups.
Not that I'm aware of. No. And so, can you make a Hall of Fame case for him? Yes. First ballot, you could probably argue that, no, he's not a first ballot Hall of Famer, but I'm not going to begrudge the guy. That good for him. And the Canadians loved him.
Oh, for sure.
They loved him. When they lost the Stanley Cup final in the pandemic, 2021, I think it was, at the end of the deciding game after it was, who was
Tampa
it who
Bay.
beat them? Tampa Bay beat them. All the Canadians players made a beeline to Shea Weber.
Yeah.
They all made a beeline to Shea Weber. They all surrounded Shea Weber.
They wanted
'cause
it so much for him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they knew that I guess they probably knew that was
was
the
it.
end for him.
Yeah.
That was it. But it just showed the respect
Yeah.
that he commands, not just among teammates, but among opponents as well.
sure.
That was a good trade for the Canadians when they unloaded PK Subban and got Shea Weber. It was controversial.
It
but,
was.
But in the end, it paid off. It got the Canadians to the Stanley Cup final.
Yeah,
They didn't
yeah.
win it, but they went farther than they would have gone with Subban.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. There's a lot of talk now with Steven Stamkos. That deal with the Tampa Bay hasn't gone through.
No, I think they traded him to Nashville, didn't they?
Oh, did they?
I think so, yeah.
But again, I was listening to it on the radio, and they were saying, this is a guy that's automatically a Hall of Famer.
Yep.
Just
Stamkos will go in
Yeah.
first ballot for sure. There's a great clip on social media that somebody did with AI where Stamkos is like fucking Tampa Bay Lightning. Fuck them.
Those are so well done.
I know.
They're
That's
so
why you
well
have to be careful now before you repost anything. You got to be careful that it's real. Because if I didn't know about AI, I would have looked at that and gone, holy fuck, listen to Stamkos.
Yeah,
He's really fucking giving it to the Lightning. I'm going to repost this.
I can't remember who it was now. It was during the Euro Cup. And I don't know if it was one with Ronaldo or someone else talking about Ronaldo. And he's like, yeah, who gives a fuck about him? He thinks he's a superstar. I took the shot. Fuck him. Why do you think I'm going to pass it to him? So I guess it was probably someone else in the Portuguese team or whatever. And I'm like, what? And then I realized, because then you can see, like, if you look closely.
Yeah,
the
but
mouth,
you have to look closely.
Yeah.
Like,
But you know
they're really good with it.
Well, because they did one with Christian Freeland. It was in the news, I think, last week, where there was this thing about her announcing some major investment that Canada is, investing money in some fucking company, and there was links, and it was some crypto thing,
Right.
But it was done so well. Of course, if you really look into the mouth, you're like, this is fake.
Yeah.
And that's how I distinguish it.
Right.
But then I'm thinking,
you have to look closely.
Yeah. So I'm thinking, in max 3, 4, 5 years, that's gone.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we're going to be at a point where it'll be indistinguishable.
Yeah.
Because the voice is there. They have the voice down.
Yeah. That's pretty scary. Think of wartime propaganda.
Oh, fuck. It's over.
What you could do with that.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Like, the leaders of these countries are going to spend more time disproving everything else that comes out than focusing on their politics. Can you imagine?
Yeah. No, we're headed for a dystopian society. I've noticed it on... Look at him right now on his phone. I've noticed it on since I've been taking the bus and the subway because the bus and the metro because I can't drive because of my epilepsy diagnosis. Everybody's like this.
Yeah.
They're all buried in their phone. I don't know if I told you guys this story. I was on the metro a couple of weeks ago and a lady got on and sat down beside me. She had a book. I said to her, what are you, some kind of a weirdo with your fucking book? I didn't say fucking. And she laughed. She laughed out loud. So yesterday.
She understood the joke,
Excuse me. Yesterday, just as a social experiment, I had to take the bus from the West Island to Carey and Vesna where I get my haircut. And so I took the crossword puzzle with me.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm on the bus and I got a newspaper and a pen. And I was getting these sideways glances from people. Like, people under 30 have never seen a newspaper and a pen before. Yeah. They probably thought I was armed. Yeah. They were probably concerned I was going to fucking stab them to death with the pen.
Yeah.
And I would...
This is suspicious.
Yeah. And I would lean over to the guy next to me and I go, movie primate. King blank. 4 letters, last 3 ONG. King Wong, King Pong, King Dong.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. People are like, why the fuck are you doing that on paper, dude? Just download the New York Times app.
Yeah. No, I still like doing my crosswords pen to paper.
Yeah.
Yeah, because with the app and the small phone, I'm always like this. I got it right in my face.
You got to get a bigger phone, though.
Yeah, you got to get a bigger screen.
I know.
Yeah.
Honestly, just walk around with a tablet.
You think at my age, people will go, look at Grandpa with his fucking tablet.
No, they're like, I get
Flip it over. No, you have a little cover. It looks like a little book.
Yeah.
And then you know what you do to take phone calls.
With a little pencil, too, you can write. And
No. You want to fuck with people. What you do is you hook up. You have a tablet at all times. And every time you get a phone call, you go, oh, hold on. You pull out, those...
the old rotary phones.
No, the phones, they have the plug, the auxiliary plug. You plug it in and then you take your phone call like that. With the tablet, you go, hey, how you been? Da, da, da. And if it's a video call, you hold it like this and talk.
I don't like answering the phone on the bus. And that was another thing I noticed. Some lady really pissed me off the other day. She's on the bus. She's on, and she's loud.
Speaker. Tell me she's on speaker.
No, she's not on speaker, but she's she's trailer trash. Fucking tell that fucking guy I'll pay my fucking rent when I got the fucking money on the bus. It's like my age. Have some fucking dignity, Grandma. Jesus Christ.
What the fuck?
Yeah, so I ended up, I put up with it for a few minutes and then I looked at her and I went, Jesus Christ. And I got up and I moved to the front of the bus.
You said it, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, this thing. You get this thing. And you just buy a tablet. Because now, let's say you get a tablet.
Yellow.
So let's say, dude, honestly, this is pretty cool. So let's say you get
instead of headphones, you just attach one of these things.
Exactly. So the thing is now,
fucking hilarious.
modern tablets, they have everything built in. But the thing is, I don't think they have like to talk on the phone like a regular phone. So what you do is you plug this in, and every time you take a phone call, you have this thing, and you even have the adapter to plug it into the charging port.
I'd love to have that and have that go off on the phone or the Metro. Yes, Commissioner.
Yeah. And it's red.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
And you just plug it in.
With a little lamp that flashes.
Yeah, but you make
Go ahead, caller. You're on the air.
Yeah. You just talk like that. That'll be awesome. I know what to get you for your birthday.
There you go. Yeah.
That's amazing. Let's talk a little bit politics, man. Since we haven't yet.
Can I ask you, before we go to Quebec politics, can I ask you about what's happening in France? Do you understand how elections work in France?
Okay, so from what I understand, hold on, because I looked up in this. Sorry.
French political expert Poseidon.
So this
Poseidon.
I searched this up for about extensively and very deeply about 28 minutes. So
That's extensive right there.
So what happened was they held the usual elections in France, and what happened was what they consider far right wing won, which is the Women's Party. I forgot
Marine Le Pen.
Marine Le Pen. What's her political party?
Rassemblement National.
Rassemblement National.
The National Rally, whatever.
The National Rally, yeah. So they won, and then what happened was Macron, biggest pussy on the planet next to Trudeau, didn't like the results of the election, so he dissipated. What's the word I'm looking for?
Dissolved.
He dissolved
The Parliament.
He dissolved the parliament, and what happened was the elections had to go to Belgium for the seats to remake parliament, and then the Rassemblée Nationale won again.
So are we talking about the European parliamentary elections
so
or the
confused.
French parliamentary elections?
I think that's what happened. I think.
But the French elections that just happened this past week, that's my
Phase
understanding
one.
is that's the first round. That's one round.
So
right?
just because I have to correct Poseidon for everyone else's sake, there were European parliaments. There's a parliament for the European Union.
Yeah.
There were elections a couple weeks ago,
and the right one in most countries.
But they still don't have the majority in parliament.
Okay.
But it was a surprising fucking amount of seats that they got.
There's a shift, a big shift.
Yeah. And in France, they won the most seats. So if you look at the country
In the European Parliament,
in the European Parliament,
right?
The MPs or the EMPs, European MPs from France, the majority is from Le Pen's party.
Okay.
And that scared Macron. His strategy was, I'm going to hit the fucking panic button. I'm calling snap elections in France. I'm calling snap elections in France, and I'm going to use that as a pretext to rally every other fucking party to come join my party so that we can beat them in legislative elections. So
And
in
they still
France,
lost.
in France, you have presidential president, and then you have legislative elections, which is for the National Assembly. So the way it works in France is they have a prime minister who runs the National Assembly, and then you have the president that represents the country. Usually they're from the same party, right?
So one's more domestic and one's more international.
Think of it like the U.S., where you have the president. The president doesn't go to the national into Congress ever. You know, you have the speaker or whatever. So it's kind of similar in France as well. So this is for legislative elections.
What happened this past week is for legislative elections.
Exactly, and so it's not Le Pen that gets elected; it's her candidate for prime minister, who's a young guy.
Okay. So she's going to run for president.
She's going to run for president. Whenever those elections, I think they're in 2027, unless Macron calls them sooner. I don't know. And I forget the guy's name. He's like a 29-year-old guy, really young guy. I forget his name. Jérôme, it doesn't matter.
I'm going to search it up.
Barriola, I think, Badiola, some shit like that. Anyways, whatever. And she won the first round. She didn't get the majority, so they're going into second round now. The amazing thing is that Macron's party ended third. In these elections, so a lot
because the left-wing vote got split, right?
A lot of his people left him and voted for the left
The other left wing part. Well, he's more centrist.
He's more
I guess,
center.
eh?
Yeah, he's more center, but he had accumulated some votes from the left party, like the Les Écolos that we call them, the Greens, whatever, and he managed to win. They went back to the left instead of actually hearing his call and saying, shit, yeah, we got to beat the right wing. Let's all join together and get them and beat them. So let's throw our support behind Macron. They're like, fuck that shit. We're going back to ours. So I'm not so sure what's going to happen, because if in the next round they don't manage to get the majority, it's done. So you're going to have a National Assembly in France who is going to have the right wing that will be in charge, but you'll have two other kind of parties that have significant numbers. So I'm not so sure how they're going to govern. I don't even know if
So it would be a right-wing minority, possibly?
Yeah. But, yeah. So we'll see. I don't know.
Because she's not fucking around. And even though I get the feeling that she's tried to soften the edge of her party compared to when her father ran it.
I don't know if she's trying to soften it. I don't know, because I think it's the same thing, just that he wasn't getting that much visibility back in the day, so you didn't really know what he represented.
Right.
So they were just leaking out what they thought was the most extreme things, right? And also, because her dad, I think, created the party in the 70s. France has changed significantly since then, right? So she's very tough on the immigration policy, very much, this nationalist approach. And this,
I don't have a big problem with that, and I've seen clips of her saying, if you are a legal immigrant to France, if you come to this country legally, you're welcome, but you have to adopt to our lifestyle and culture, not vice versa.
Yeah, but it's also her approach and the criteria of getting that citizenship in France. So it'll be much, much harder. It'll be much harder.
Yeah, well, I think that a lot of people believe that we're at a tipping point in terms of.
Well, that's the thing right now, right?
In terms of immigration, and I think you're going to see that spill over into the England as well, into the UK.
Oh yeah, because they have elections.
Already.
They have elections as well. There's going to be an impact, and I think it's going to be global. And it's a pattern. It's a pattern. Whenever you've had more right-wing governments in the U.S., you've kind of seen that same pattern in the bigger Western allies, England, France, Italy as well.
And they get labeled as extreme right by the media and by their opponents.
Tough.
But I don't consider them. I consider them to be conservative.
Yeah,
not extreme right. Like, to me, extreme is what you see on the left now. Biological men can be women if they say they are. That's extreme to me.
It's tough to gauge. It's tough to gauge because there is so much shit out there. There's so much information. You don't know what to believe anymore. And it's hard to draw the line on where you have intolerance, Because back in the day, that's what it was. The minute that there was any sort of intolerance, you were an extremist. Yeah. I don't want Arabs or North Africans moving into France. That was considered extremist. Like, what the fuck? Why would you be intolerant towards these people? Let them come in. We're a welcoming country. This is the criteria to become a citizen or a resident of France. Follow the thing. But they didn't have the waves of irregular migrants that they have now, where it is a daily phenomenon.
It's a deluge.
Yeah. Italy as well, Greece as well, even though Greece is way more extreme than they are in Italy and probably France as well if Le Pen gets elected.
More in Greece, they're more extreme?
No, they're less. They're extreme. Much more accepting. They're much more tolerant.
All right.
But then again, a lot of them don't stay in Greece, and I think there's an agreement that they made with Germany. And as soon as they get in, like within a year, they're shipped out to Germany because that's where everyone wants to go. Essentially,
because of the economic opportunities.
They nobody wants to stay in Greece. A lot of them, obviously, they filter through and they just remain there.
Right. Thank God.
Well, I was listening. I was talking to my cousin the other day, and it's obvious now. Like Athens, you see them. They're everywhere.
Yeah.
So it's a big challenge for the European countries, and you have Turkey that is playing a huge role. And I know that we bash Turkey a lot on this podcast, but the truth is that they control a huge percentage of the influx of these irregular migrants. In fact, that's what Turkey uses in order to get what they want from the EU. It's the one thing that they leverage. Okay, you don't give us what we want, we'll just open the fucking floodgates and everyone's going to come in, all right?
Yeah. Well, I think what people are afraid of, to a large extent, and this happened in Halifax last week or the week before, I think it was last week, it was during Pride Month, 2 lesbians got beat up on the street by a group of about 10 men, Middle Eastern origin, believed to be Syrian. You have to search high and low to find that anywhere in the Canadian media. And the 2 mainstream Canadian media outlets that I did find who covered the story did not mention the ethnicity of the attackers.
Put on their white gloves to handle this one.
Yeah, exactly. Because that would have gone against the immigrant-friendly narrative, right?
At some point, though, you need to expose these
You
things.
have to. And you know, I don't trust mainstream media anymore to begin with, but now not only are they lying to you, but when they're not lying outright, they're lying by omission, either by ignoring the story or ignoring a key element of the story. And that's what people don't want. People don't want people coming from other parts of the world. Like, you know, these same people on the left who are so pro-Palestinian, immigrant friendly, and at the same time are, you know, anti-homophobia. You can't have both. Because people from radical Islam or hardcore Islam, maybe even mainstream Islam, they're homophobic. They don't believe in that, and the harder core ones will beat the shit out of you.
Do you think it's a coincidence that this year all these parades have been canceled? There won't be a Pride parade in Montreal. Canada Day parade was canceled in Montreal. And I'm just wondering, is this just a fucking coincidence? Because all the articles that you read have to do with criteria that hasn't been met, that there's more strict requests from, you know, government or, you know, municipalities.
Red tape.
You know, you didn't meet it, you didn't have the money, you didn't have the volunteers, whatever it is. I'm not so sure about that, man. I'm not so sure.
Well, again, I wish I could trust the media. I wish I could trust mainstream media to tell me the truth, but I don't trust them anymore.
They cornered Valerie Plante, I think, a couple of days ago, if not last week, on the encampments. And they're like, how is it okay for students or supposed students to have their encampments in McGill, but when you have homeless people doing that, within 24 hours, they're out? And she's like, well, it's unacceptable to have homeless
because the homeless don't vote.
You know, it's unacceptable to have homeless encampments, and she struggled with that one.
Yeah,
she struggled with that one. You know, and that's an important fucking question. It's like, wake the fuck up. What are you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah, a lot of the gay pride parades in different cities were canceled when they were in process, because the Queers for Palestine shut them down. And I don't understand that. I don't understand what they're thinking.
Yeah, the articles that I read basically state that they cannot accept that someone else is celebrating while the cause that they represent is such a morbid one and people are dying.
They don't represent that cause. They'd be thrown off fucking rooftops in Palestine.
Yeah.
You know? And why don't people call them out on that?
I think they have. It's just, you know, we've reached this really strange period where it's so touchy to talk about things that matter.
But life has become a parody. Like that's like satire. It's like a Saturday night. Look, Queers for Palestine's like a Saturday Night Live.
It makes no sense.
Seriously, it's like a Saturday Night Live.
I agree with you. It makes no sense. It makes absolutely no fucking sense. You mentioned immigration, and even that, I mean, both sides of the equation make absolutely no fucking sense. You have, on one hand, an influx that everyone, or, you know, majority of the people kind of want to control, the government want to control. They're like, dude, we don't want more, we can't handle more, there's all these things happening, the economy has taken a hit, we don't have the capacity to welcome them in. And then you have the other side, where you have Legault last week that came out and said, listen, I'm afraid of the overreaction that people are going to have with our policy of taking less immigrants. So what do? You have on one side the government that says we got to take them in because it's our obligation and don't worry about it, it's going to be fine. That's Justin Trudeau, regardless of the fact that Quebec especially financially is suffering because they have to take care of these people, right? And on the other side, you have Legault who wants to reduce his the numbers in immigration, and he's worried about the overreaction that might have because people might call him out as intolerant or racist or whatever.
But
what a fucked up time we're living in.
Hold on. Here's what I don't understand, though. Here's something that doesn't make fucking sense to me, right? People are fed up of the mass immigration. You know, the conditions are getting worse and worse. If people are for this, like, okay, let's stop this, who's going to call them out exactly on this? Let's say people are fed up. People that have been living here, they're like, this is too much.
Well, you have to wait for the next election.
Hold on. Crime is...
And you're seeing it happen in France.
No,
That's what it is.
no, but like...
That's why you have all the waves of people shifting to the right that people are calling extreme right? I mean, Poilievre is not an extreme right wing politician.
Not.
You know what I mean? And yet he's every single day I see shit. Guys, and I've said this before. I've reached the point, like me, a guy who still has that thirst to just follow everything that happens in politics. I fall on Justin Trudeau's content and I don't even look anymore. I don't care. I've reached that point, guys.
You didn't like him dancing in Markham?
You saw that fucking shit.
Food festival?
It's like, you have so many fucking problems. What are you doing?
That's funny.
That's such a great word, Malak.
Fucking shit.
That.
Like, you don't understand. Like, first of all, we know it's fake.
Yeah.
We know it's fake. So, okay, I get it. You're doing it because it's an image thing. We get that. But is that the appropriate thing that you want to be doing now, right now?
Yeah, that's what I don't get. What's going through his mind that he thinks?
Like 10 years ago, I get it. It's an image thing. Do it. We're going to be like, oh, look at that. He loves it and he's having fun.
I know what's going through his head. He's there. He's dancing at the Pride Parade. Pride Parade, right?
No. It was some
Asian food festival,
some festival.
North of Toronto.
Oh, never mind. Okay.
Yeah, and he's dancing like an idiot. Like, at least fucking dance properly, man.
Yeah, it reminded me of when he was over in India and he did that ridiculous dance in India.
He's done that here too. I was at an event. That famous clip, it's at William Hingston, at the gym at William Hingston. I was there. And it's a clip that keeps playing all the time where he's dancing. There's a girl dancing and he's next to her. And he's fucking, I don't know, man, whatever. It's such a weird time. It is such a weird time for fucking politics. And this is what I wanted to get to very quickly. We spoke about the French election. You have Quebec Solidaire, which we've spoken about Quebec Solidaire, this fucking grassroots left-wing separatist party. And you have members of elected members at the National Assembly from Quebec Solidaire that are actively campaigning with the left to get the left-wing party elected in France. And everyone is calling for interference because you're an elected. Like, think about that. Imagine.
So who are they trying to influence? French citizens who live in Quebec?
Exactly. So
there's a substantial number, apparently.
There's like over 200,000 French people that vote here. And it's not even important. Like the person they elect here is like a supplementary MP in case the main one decides to quit or step aside. They have kind of like a replacement to take his place or her place. And that's, I think if I read correctly, that's who they elect over here. And they're actively campaigning with leaflets and everything, like official political shit from that party here in Quebec. And they're actively campaigning on the streets, passing leaflets.
Are they allowed to? Or is that a violation of electoral laws?
Their argument is like, listen, I'm an independent citizen in Quebec, and I'm helping this party. They're not French citizens, so they don't vote in France.
But as an elected member of the National Assembly, are they not? Does that not create a conflict?
Well, that's the fucking big question. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Forget about what you believe. You're elected in Quebec. Quebec, it's a province. We're not even involved in foreign relations. You understand? So you have nothing to do with anything happening in any other fucking country. And especially their electoral process. Imagine if in the next provincial elections, you have Marine Le Pen's party that comes to Quebec and helps Legault win. Or Éric Duhem. Imagine.
People shit.
Like, what are you fucking doing? What are you like? How have we ended up there? It's like, oh, there's a rise of extremism and right wing shit, and we have to fight it as Quebecers. Fuck off! It's another party.
Mind your own business.
Yeah, what are you doing? Like, and even as
take care of your side of the street.
But even as a political calculation, what do you benefit from doing this? What is it going to bring you?
Well, I don't think a lot of people make political calculations these days. It's just all virtue signal.
When I was working in politics, okay, we would get an invitation to attend an event or we wanted to organize. I would spend so much time analyzing and maybe it's just me, maybe no one else did, but I'm convinced because I've spoken to a lot of former colleagues, and pretty much everyone was calculating the same thing. There's a calculation that has to happen. Aside from the fact that you either want to or don't want to attend certain things or create an event, whatever, the main thing was, if we do it, what do we gain? What do we lose? And if we don't do it, what do we gain and what do we lose? And based on that, whatever, quote unquote analysis, I'm like, okay, it's worth it. Let's do it.
Decision.
You know what I mean? So something like this, okay? There's an election.
They didn't think it through.
No, but I'm trying to calculate. I'm like, what do you gain? Like, if you do it, what do you gain and what do you lose? Clearly, you have more to lose than to gain.
Yeah.
And if you don't do it, are you going to gain anything? Obviously not. Are you going to lose anything? No. So don't do it. Like, what is it? Like, fuck, it's for your Instagram account because you're getting a lot of fucking heat.
Yeah, it is for their Instagram account. It's a virtue signal. Look at me. I'm out campaigning against the right-wing Nazis in France.
I don't know if there was a formal complaint lodged with the director of the National Assembly. At some point, someone has to get vocal about this.
Yeah.
But it's Ruba Gazal. She gets elected in the Plateau Mont-Royal, and with two other ones that really don't matter, but mainly her. She's the one driving this thing, and her argument is like, "Oh, look, I'm doing this on my spare time. I'm an independent citizen.
Private citizen, yeah.
But you're not a private citizen. That's the thing.
Yeah, you're elected member of the National
No matter
Assembly.
what, you are a public figure right now. That argument, I'm doing it on my own time, is zero. Like, it's not valid. It never stands. Whether you like to use it or not, it doesn't matter. It's invalid. The minute you're elected, you're a public figure. Point à la ligne.
Yeah.
It's done. Let us know what you guys think. Should Ruba Gazal continue campaigning for the French left-wing parties? On that note, we will end today's episode. Guys, I'm not sure if I'm in next week, by the way. I don't know if I should be announcing. I might be away, but anyways, I'll let you guys know.
I'll be in you afterwards.
Fuck.
He'll be what?
He'll be in me afterwards. This fucking Poseidon. Nobody understands it. But if you do feel like following him, at Poseidon, Poseidon 69, I'm Poseidon.com for his website. Go check out what he does. Subscribe to this channel, the Pantelis Comedy YouTube channel, and get yourself a plan over at Patreon. Patreon.com/Pantelis for all exclusive content. He will be busy during the summer, during the Just for Laughs and other stuff that he's organized, so follow him and go check out his shows. Ted Bird sitting before me, getting ready to launch a brand new season of Standing By, the Terry and Ted podcast, with none other than Terry DeMonte. Follow them as well, and I look forward to those episodes. If you understand or if you know French, head on over to Politiquement Parlant and check out what we're doing over there with my buddy Salim. Thank you all so very much. We'll see you very, very soon. Take care.